Hey everyone, hope you're having a great day. Want to continue talking about Paul's letters, and the one that we're looking at today in Romans chapter 14, kind of picking some different verses. I think it's going to be verses 1 through 5 and then verse 10 and verse 13. It really is relevant to what's going on in our world today. So I just want to read you this passage and then talk about it for a couple of minutes. This is what Paul wrote, beginning in chapter 14 of Romans, verse 1. He said, "As for the one who is weak in faith, welcome him, but not to quarrel over opinions. One person believes he may eat anything, while the weak person eats only vegetables. Let not the one who eats despise the one who abstains, and let not the one who abstains pass judgment on the one who eats, for God has welcomed him. Who are you to pass judgment on the servant of another? It is before his own master that he stands or falls, and he will be upheld, for the Lord is able to make him stand. One person esteems one day as better than another, while another esteems all days alike. Each one should be fully convinced in his own mind." Now we're going to jump to verse 10. That was 1 through 5, verse 10. "Why do you pass judgment on your brother? Or you, why do you despise your brother? For we will all stand before the judgment seat of God." Verse 13. "Therefore, let us not pass judgment on one another any longer, but rather decide never to put a stumbling block or hindrance in the way of a brother or sister." So what's Paul getting at? There's a difference of opinion going on the way that they're worshiping, on the food that they're eating, on which day is the day of worship and which day is not. All kinds of issues are going on here. And verse 1 is really cool. Listen to what Paul says again. "As for the one who is weak in faith, welcome him, but not to quarrel over opinions." So what Paul's really getting at is the one who's weaker in faith, the one who maybe has less understanding, not that they're weak, not that they have a minimal faith, but they don't have a good understanding. They don't have a good grasp of the gospel. And so he's saying that their faith is weaker because there's just this not a higher level of understanding of what they should be doing or not doing. But the others who maybe had a more advanced faith, or who were stronger in their faith, or who were longer in their faith, were crying out against the ones and passing judgment on the ones who didn't understand. And so for some people, the Jewish Christians who are saying, no, you have to eat kosher in order to be a true Christian. And then there's the other side where Paul and Peter would be saying, no, you can eat whatever you want. God's revealed to them. The kingdom's open for everyone. It's a metaphor for the openness of the gospel, that anyone who professes faith in Jesus is welcome. It's not for the Jew only. And so there was fights over that. There were fights over which day of the week. And so the person who is stronger is arguing, and it's kind of what we have going on in our world today. It's the people who are for masks, the people who are against masks. And we start arguing with one another and passing judgment on one another. I believe we should be wearing a mask when we're out, but that's just what I believe. But I'm not going to yell and scream at someone and pass judgment on them who's not. We have the issue right now in politics with an election coming up, the liberals versus the conservatives. We argue and we pass judgment. Paul is telling us, don't do that. Don't put a stumbling block before someone else. Bottom line is, go back to chapter 13, the last part of chapter 13 from yesterday. As Paul said, love one another. Here's the commandment, love one another. Here's the royal law of what James would say, love one another. And so that is the constant theme. Jesus said in John, a new commandment I give you. New? Yes. Love one another. And that's the call. It always has to be the call. Love one another. So instead of arguing, love one another. How can we do that? We do it by showing who Jesus Christ is, by the way that we respond. When someone attacks us, how do we respond? With anger? With fighting? With throwing things? Or do we respond in love? Firm, yet love. Have a great day. God bless you.